outside on the way in here. It was just sitting on the floor, all by itself, with no other pieces of rope around. Somebody probably cut off a much longer piece, used it for something, then tossed it away. Can you guess how long this piece of rope is? What do you think? Maybe about a foot, foot and a half long? That's not the way it began. This piece here probably started out as a single strand of twine, tied together over and over again until it became larger and larger. Probably ended up about 300 yards long. Then, little by little, it was cut away over and over again until this severed piece found its way onto the floor. Doesn't look like it'd be used for much now. Too short and too old to do anyone much good. But I thought I'd bring it in with me and give it a proper finish rather than just let it sit there on the ground. Here goes. Rope, thank you. You've always held a knot well, didn't stretch too much, strong and always there to tie things to the ground so they wouldn't blow away in the wind. You held everything in place when we couldn't and taught us we could work together. You served your purpose well. And now all that's left is this small piece. No one wants to be like a piece of rope. No one.
Okay. Is there a rope shortage that I'm not aware of?
I was going to bring it. The first time I had a jacket,
Yes.
and I was going to use the rope for my jacket, but I didn't forget to bring my
All right. All right. So let's talk about what's your moment before. Remember we talked about that today?
Yeah.
So what's your very first line?
Just picked up this piece of rope.
Okay. And when you did the improvisation with your partner, what did your partner, how did you do that?
I think I just started talking actually.
Okay. So we gotta find that. We gotta find that. So that, let's say we're talking here. And I, of course, am not. So, what do you have there?
Just picked up this piece of rope up outside on the way in here.
Outside? On the floor?
It was just sitting on the floor, all by itself with no other piece of rope around.
Wow. Just
Somebody probably cut off a much longer piece, used it for something, and tossed it away.
yeah. You're probably right.
Can you guess how long this piece of rope is? What do you think?
7, 8.
Maybe about a foot?
Yeah, maybe.
Foot and a half long? But that's not the way it began. This piece here probably started out as a single strand of twine, tied together over and over again until it became larger and larger.
I never thought of it that way.
Probably ended up about 300 yards long.
Oh, a big
Yeah.
piece
Then,
of rope.
little by little, it was cut away over and over again until this severed piece found its way onto the floor.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty heavy.
Yeah. Doesn't look like it could be used for much now. Too short, too old to do anyone much good. But I thought I'd bring it in with me and give it a proper finish rather than let it sit there on the ground.
I never thought of a piece of rope like that.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Here goes. Rope, thank you. You held a knot. We've always held a knot well. Didn't stretch too much. Strong and always there to tie things to the ground so they wouldn't blow away in the wind. You held everything in place when we couldn't, and taught us we could work together. You served your purpose well, and now all that's left is this small piece. No one wants to be like a piece of rope. No one.
So the rope is kind of like what? A metaphor for what? Life? What a depressing monologue. Because it's like, oh, here's this, that's like us. We're like this little old thing that's left over when you start out in the beginning, you have all this stuff. So I thought, we got to find that hook. This is a hard one. Well, let me ask you this. Who are you talking to? You just talking to somebody? Who's the hook?
Well, when you told me to start it with something, I just pretended maybe somebody asked me what do I have,
Yeah.
what was there.
Like if you saw somebody dangling a piece of rope, you probably say, that might, what, you know, you can go from there. And so, you ever know these kind of people that take something and they make it into like this big thing? And so, maybe that's part of it. And so what'll be a good hook for you in this piece of rope becomes something else. And then you can really wrap yourself around it. You know, it's not a piece of rope, it's life, it's me, it's something. And then you kind of go through that, and that will allow you to connect some emotional things to it. So but let me ask you this, remember we talked about intellectual, emotional, how do you feel about that piece of rope, your character?
Like it really represents, it's like the character feels like it, like real strong about it, like it really wants to tell its story for it.
It's like you guys ever have this thing where you look at something, whatever it's, and then you get this like, oh my God, now I understand something. It's like that.
Yeah.
So it gives you that. And why I'm trying to go there with you is otherwise if you make this piece about a piece of rope, there's nothing emotional you can, unless, you know, I don't know. Trying to find some emotional connection so that you can pick those specific emotions and play it. And then, how did you end it? Let's think about that.
Just kind of like, maybe set it down there.
Yeah. So you got to find that beat, and so we want to know, I'll get you. We want to know how does he feel about this, but we have to elevate this to a much higher status than a piece of rope. In other words, otherwise it doesn't make sense. So that people will look, there are places in Europe, for example, that in a cathedral, I'm trying to think of one off the top, Santiago in Spain, there is a bone there. It's about as big as the piece of rope he's hung, and it's supposed to be the bone of the Apostle Paul. It's about that big. And everybody looks at it's just a bone. I mean, if you see it, I mean, you know, I've seen cats eating a piece of chicken by a garbage pail. That's, I mean, you know, but yet it has this whole thing. So he's taken an ordinary thing and he's given it a reverence in that particular read, and there must be an emotional connection to it. Yes?
When you were talking about ending the monologue, I always have that question, like when you're talking to the audience,
Yes.
like you're looking at them and you're interacting with them, and sometimes like, you know that in some monologues, there's like that moment that you pause but you didn't finish, and then let's say you're sad, so like you kind of pause, and then you keep going, and like at the end of your monologue, like how do you tell them like, yeah, no?
Well, all right, so his question is, when you're doing something and you're in front of an audience, and that could be in an audition too, right? Now, an audition is easy. I'll tell you why. Does anybody know why an audition's easy? Without saying scene? I hate when people say scene. No, it's easier than that. It's easier than you think. Remember, in the audition, we don't talk to them. We don't acknowledge them. Remember when he was my producer and she was the director? So I'm doing this thing and I'm creating this character, and now I've said my last line and I've allowed my character and the moment to complete. So you don't say to be or not to be. Think of the term scene. Do some of the teachers who teach you to do scene?
Yeah.
All right, this is what I hate. Pretend that this is the last line. To be or not to be, scene. That's premature, what's the word I'm looking for? Ending. To be or not to be, seen? No. So, a better way to be, he's my producer and director, to be or not to be. I allow that moment to take its place, him to react, whoever it may be. And then I change my physicality, and for the very first time I acknowledge them. You know, we look at each other and you go like, but don't go into that thing where you physicalize a comment about what you perform. Watch this. To be or not to be. What are my shoulders telling you? Oh, I'm sorry I did that. It sucked. Because they'll go, I thought it was pretty good, but wow, you kind of say it sucked, huh? All right. Thanks. Garbage pile. So you just hear, and then you acknowledge them, and however it is you do, you don't just go, you just, and then let them do their part. Let them them do their part, but don't comment. Where are you? That's what I was jamming you for, because you have a little cute thing with a leather jacket on, you look nice, and you do this like, I'm going to rip, you apart, and then you go, that. And that's you, is who you are, but we want to separate that. So that's one way. And when you're in a performance, and you're not acknowledging the audience, well, you kind of asked me a question. What if I'm acknowledging the audience? How do you
let's say you are talking in this moment to us, but that's your monologue, and then you're done, and you're looking at us like in the eyes. And
Yeah.
like that. How do you?
Well, it's funny because in musicals, when somebody sings to us like, I'm getting up there and I'm singing a song, right? Somebody's doing that. They have what's called a button. And it's the way they end the song is, I'm never gonna da-da-da-da-da-da, boom. And we go, hey! That's the acknowledgement. The button says to us, it's over, time for you to clap. So in your monologue, if it's presentational, you're talking to the audience as you described, I would find a button for it. So I would say, whatever your last line is, give it a button. And then they go, oh, okay. Think about comedians.
Drum roll.
They say thank you, good night. Yeah.
And they do, and normally they do it in threes. They go, well, that's the way it is. That's the way it is. You gotta be kidding. They do, and you go, oh, that's the end. I'll clap. So that's how you find that. Now, in this particular thing, I'm not trying to beat this to death, but this particular monologue is hard because you don't want it to be a speech about rope. The rope has to be something else. Whatever you choose it to be. It becomes a symbol for something else. And then, whatever it is you choose it to be, then you can wrap your arms around it and have the emotion. But if it's just a piece of rope, then it becomes something else. Not to say that you did that. Yours was kind of in between. You made it a piece of rope a little bit, but you also were playing in the area, and that's fine. So what I want to do is, for the rest of you guys, is this. I just want to spend a moment before I kick you out of here, because I'm going to end today. But here's the deal. Make sure you have your sheet done for next week. So those of you who didn't receive the syllabus... Now, you were saying it's not on page 6? It's page 6 in the syllabus. Yeah, who said it wasn't on page 6?
It's like 9.
On the internet, because it scrolls out. I sent you guys a Microsoft Word file. Now, if there's a problem with that, I can take it back to the printer and we'll hope for the best and let them reprint it. But on page 6 of the printed syllabus is where the form is. And page 7 is your next assignment, and so on and so forth. Fill that out, and that's what you're going to hand in when you do your assignment. And then I make notes on it and I send it back. So I hope that's clear to you. And what I'm going to probably try and do, because we're hitting spring break, I may recalibrate the calendar just so that the dates match up, because we're a little out of sync with the size of the class. Who had a question?
On page 5 through 6 of the first syllabus is the type assignment, so that's what I did.
Yeah, throw the old syllabus.
Okay.
You know what happened is they messed up the printing, and so that's why we're confused, and that's why I'm cutting you guys some slack. Now, are there any questions on the monologue? You see what we're doing here? We're creating a scene of beginning, middle, and end. Hey, look, I'm not going to fry you. This is beginning acting. So, you're going to be fine. It isn't like, oh my God, if I don't hit it, no, that's not going to happen. Because what I'm seeing here is you guys are getting up and you have your lines memorized, you're doing fine. You're going to be okay. So it's not a big deal. Don't freak out about the monologue. And what I'd like to do next week is start right at the beginning and see how many we can get done, and we may have some spill past the holiday. Now, the other thing we didn't talk about that is important is you got that critical review coming up. So if you haven't, did anybody see the importance of being earnest? No? Oh, Jill saw it. So you may do that. You know, that's running right now, and go see something so that you make sure you hand that assignment. Now, you get your hand up.
Oh, yeah.
Were you waving at me?
No.
What?
Can it be like any show?
Like what?
Like a season?
You have to let me know what it is.
Okay.
I'm sure it'll be fun. Somebody said they were going to go see Wizard of Oz. Who told me that?
Where?
Just as long as it's not Mrs. McGillicuddy's, kindergarten class doing it.
How,
Okay?
how about placing the